Hello everyone, Jennifer Kumar here from Authentic Journeys, here to share a very interesting cross-cultural experience I had here in Smith Hall, Nazareth College, Rochester, New York. So I was invited to give a talk on multiculturalism in the office. I'm not going to talk to you about that topic. I'm going to share an experience I had in facilitating the training. And it was different than what happens in India. You'll be very interested to hear about this, because it's very interesting. It was very interesting to me, of course. Otherwise, I wouldn't be making a video about it. So, of course, before we started the group work, I had them count off by 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, like that all the way to the end. And then I asked them to divide up into their respective groups in various sections of the room. Like group 1, go over in the back left, group 2, go in the back right, etc. Now, of course, that's just like India. That would also happen in India. I divide up the groups, I tell them to go in respective areas, and then they move their desks or chairs into circles and discuss the topic and come up with ideas they would like to present. Now the interesting part is actually the debrief, how the debrief actually occurred. So when I debriefed, I asked each group to choose one representative to share their findings. Now that's not unlike India, but when I asked them to do this, asked them to present their findings, of course they were sitting in their groups. The desks were not lined up perfectly like this. They were lined up in circles. And when I asked them to then get ready to present, they reorganized all their desks from circles back into these rows, very orderly. Not only that, they went back to their respective seats where they were sitting before we did the group work. I can tell you that I have not seen this part in India. Most of the training rooms in India, they might actually move the desks back into an orderly fashion or their chairs back in an orderly fashion around the boardroom table. Even then, sometimes they don't. But they would never go back, or very rarely, go back to their original seats. They would stick with the group they were assigned and then present. I found that really interesting that all the group members actually decided to go back to their respective seats. So now they're all sitting in various locations of the room rather than in their group. So the challenge for me as a facilitator was, how do I know that all groups are speaking? Well, number one, there was 5 groups, so at least 5 people have to speak. But it's really their own initiative that would prove if one individual from each of the 5 groups spoke or not, because it was hard for me to tell which group they were in. I found that very fascinating because, like I said before, in India, people will typically stay with their group and not go back to their original seats unless I, as a facilitator, ask them to. And so as a facilitator, actually, I kind of find the Indian style a little more easy for me, because it's easy for me to identify who's in what group, rather than when everyone here in the US class went back to their respective desks. And it was very difficult for me to figure out who was in what group and who was going to speak or not speak, etc. Unless I had identified that before asking them to present, then I might have known. But I had no clue they were going to take these desks from their circular pattern and put them back so orderly in these rows and sit back, and also to sit back in their respective seats. In India, if they were to move the chairs back in an orderly fashion or facing the table in a boardroom, they would still be sitting with their group. They wouldn't go back to their original seats. I've rarely seen that. It's a big cultural difference. So I wanted to share that. I thought that was a little interesting. So if you have any interesting stories about cross-culture experiences in the classroom or at the workplace, don't forget to share your comments below. Thanks for listening. Have a great day. Bye.